Hello, hello, my awesome family. How are you doing? My name is Dayle, host of the Awesome Music Show, and I'm delighted to do this broadcast for you one more time. This is our second year of broadcasting, and we are grateful that God has given us this opportunity to go live and to do these wonderful shows with you. So, as usual, it's another awesome day given to us by an awesome God to do some awesome things, and we will do some awesome things with this broadcast. Today's a very, very exciting broadcast as we invite our very, very special guest who will be with us on this show, and she'll be talking about several different things on the show today, including the ABGMA Awards 2022, and also encouraging our young people on the topic I'm young, I'm bold, I'm confident. That's the theme for the months of July and August. So we are really appreciative of your time being on, joining us live and supporting the Awesome Music Show. For those of you who have been voting, for those of you who have been sending in your messages, for those of you who've been joining us live every time we go on, we thank you so much. There are some persons who, even if we don't go live, they'll be sending messages to find out what's happening with the show. So we are thankful to you for your support, and we crave your continued support as we continue to do what God has allowed us to do. We are embarking on the theme this month and for August as well. I'm young, I'm bold, I'm confident, and all our guests will be talking on that theme to encourage our young people. So we want you to be a part of it wherever you're logging on from, wherever you're joining from today. We appreciate you being on this show with us, and we appreciate you supporting the Awesome Music Show. So my guest on the Awesome Music Show today is no stranger to the media field, but I will just do an abbreviated introduction of her because she wears so many hats, and we thank God for her influence on the world, on her country, in the music industry. We thank God for her influence. So she is an ordained apostle prophet. She's also the assistant pastor at Resurrection and Employment Ministries under the leadership of prophetess Karen Harney. She's also the president and CEO of SOARISE Music International, and also the multi-award winning owner and manager of the multi-award nominated and award winning SOARISE Music and SOARISE TV. She's the founder of the first and only Antigua and Barbuda Gospel Music and Media Awards, now in its eighth year. She's also the founder and editor of the Reading Public magazine. I speak of no other person than my wonderful guest today, Apostle Stanshaw Cornelius. Thank you so much, Apostle, for being my wonderful guest on the Awesome Music Show. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. And thank you so much for inviting me. So happy to be here.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Because with so wearing so many hats, I'm sure it must be hard for you to keep your diary, very well kept.
Yes.
And we thank you so much for just allowing us to do this interview so that people can know more about your ministries and all that you do. And also, a person like you is fitting for this month's theme, which is I'm young, bold, and confident. Just
Yes.
encouraging young people that listen, I might be discouraged, but listen, there is so much more out there that I can do. Things might not go in the direction I want it to go, but I can shift to a different direction and make things possible. So welcome, welcome to the Awesome Music Show, and thank you for availing yourself. All right, so you wear so many hats, and I just mentioned just a few, but one of the main areas that people would know you from is to Soarise Music International. Tell us a little
Yes.
bit about some of your ministries, and also before you get to those ministries, I'm sure growing up, there must be a journey that got you to where you are today. Well achieved, well accomplished, and we give God glory
Hmm.
for all of that. You couldn't have done it
Hmm.
on your own. So tell us a little bit about your early journey, and then you can just transition into where you are now and the many ministries that you know operate.
Sure. Well, I will go as far back as 5 years old. 4 or 5 years old, coming up. Um, the Spirit of God was always there with me, but it
Yeah.
was around that time of my life, coming up 5, 6, 7, 8, that it was very pronounced. The Holy Spirit would speak to me, and he would whisper in my ears, and he would say that you were born to do great things. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
something that just that happened like every week or every day, but there's just certain moments, certain times in my life that it was if he would send a messenger. I would, I'm just in hindsight saying had to have been an angel that God has sent, that was just there to communicate that message alone. And every time I heard it, up until I'm leaving high school, I'm just hearing you were born to do great things, but I had no understanding of what that meant. And throughout my years in university, I went to school in Kentucky, in Murray, Kentucky, at a
Mm-hmm.
school, Murray State University. And while I was there, I was at a time in my life where I was really searching for purpose, what the reason that I was born, because I was just so confused about being born to do great things. What is the great thing? But what I
Mm-hmm.
realized along the way is that I was very talented. I was, gifted in a lot of different areas. I can sing, I can dance, I can do this, I can write. And it was just so much stuff. It was like God just had this big basket of whatever, or this treasure house, and he just throw a lot of stuff in there. Like, yeah, I'm gonna throw that in, I'm gonna throw that in. So along the way, I was discovering all these things, but I had no sense of direction. That is what was missing. So I didn't know which way, what career to choose. What do I do with all of this gifting, all of this know-how, all of this stuff? And
Yeah.
so I always had a desire to be in the music industry, but the stumbling blocks, it was just a struggle. It was just like, you try this, it don't work. I don't feel happy. I don't feel at rest. I don't feel at peace. I don't feel like I'm doing something that makes sense. So it was
Yeah.
about my 25th, going to my 26th year. um I began to ask God some really, really hard questions, because I was at a crossroad. I was at a crossroad, and I said, God, I need to know what the true meaning of life really is. Of course, at that time, growing up in church and all that stuff, I had my Bible. I was reading my Psalms and
Yeah.
Proverbs and thought I was spiritual. I thought I was a pretty good person at that time,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a void, there was an emptiness that I could not ignore. And every single year, every season, it just got more pronounced. And when I came home to Antigua, there was a lot of divine encounters throughout there, that God was just showing me that he had a call on my life, that his hand was on my life, and I was supposed to go a certain way. There was
Yeah.
just certain things I could not do, that but I couldn't explain. Now I'm coming to this time, 2004, back in Antigua, and I had this dream, this vision on September 16th, 2004, of God, and he's telling me how he loves me, and but he wants me to come to him now and all this stuff. And when I woke up from that, I realized I had to make a decision. And
Yeah.
so on October 3rd, by God's direction, I went to a particular church. I was told to go to a specific church. Tell the pastor after the service. This is what God was saying to me. Tell the pastor after the service that you want to get saved. And the Lord said he's going to pray for you. And when he prays for you, you're going to be saved. So just do exactly what I tell you. And I did that. The pastor was looking at me strange, because he was like, why didn't you come up when there was the altar call? I said, I am doing what God said. So he
Simple.
said, all right. And he prayed for me. And that is where my journey began. I heard literally angels in heaven ringing a bell and dancing and singing, like a big party going on. I heard it, but nobody else could hear it. And I was like, wow, this is like the best feeling ever. I'm like, wow, I'm saved. And I'm looking around, and my aunt and my other, my other sibling looking at me like, okay, what's going on with Stanshaw? But anyway, they celebrated with me that I had gotten saved. That
Yeah.
began my journey towards finding exactly what that purpose was. I still needed that question answered. And so it was over that 2 year period, 2, 3 years, coming up there to 2006, 2007, that God began to speak to me about the fact that he called me to the office of a prophet, then later as an apostle. I had no clue what those things meant then. But I trusted God and sorry, waited my time and season. And I will say this publicly, that for 10 years, between 2007 and 2017, I was not a member of anybody church. I was at home by the instruction of God for 10 literal years. I could not go to a church and join. I had to do this, what God had called me to do. So in 2010, it wasn't until that time that God gave me this vision of SOARISE from Isaiah, from the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1, which says, arise and shine, for thy light has come, the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. And so he gave me this blueprint of all these things that he wanted me to do: a festival, an awards, a radio station, TV station, all this stuff. So I'm writing this stuff down. I still have the document to this day, outline all the things that God says SOARISE is supposed to do. I ain't got no money. I ain't got nothing. I just graduated. All I had was my laptop. Literally just had a laptop that I brought home from college, right? And I was working with my parents, and God said I had to leave all of that behind. I had to leave that security. I never had to go out there and look for a job. I was working in family business. So I'm like, what is this new life that you leading me to, God? I don't know, because I ain't got no money, no job. My parents don't understand what I'm talking about, because I'm supposed to carry on family business. And then you're telling me about ministry. I ain't got no money. But I stepped out on faith, nevertheless, on God's word. And um, starting in 2011, I did this festival. It was just never heard of. It was crazy. We didn't have no money, but we still did it. It came off by God's grace, 4 days. And then that led to me starting no, I got my first start in media doing Joyful Noise on a station, local station here in Antigua on Sun FM. Then 2014, God took me out of that, told me to start SOARISE Radio, an internet radio. Nobody knew what internet radio was about. Didn't nobody care about it. They was not feeling it. They were not going to come on board with me, because it's like, who's listening to that? We don't know nothing about that. And so I was left by my lonesome. And I continued with SOARISE Radio 2014. 2015, I started the first award show with only local artists. Still crazy, but I did it.
That's
And
the
so
ABGMA.
it was that journey of dealing with a lot of people just not getting what I'm doing, because it don't make sense in their eyes. And my passion was to help independent artists, or people who are just thinking they can sing, or I see something in them that they could not see, and I say, look, I have to draw that out. You have to use what God has given to you. And that was my mission at that time. So that was the focus for SOARISE. Still to this day, I'm all about finding that person, encouraging people to use what God has given to them. And so throughout my experience, I realized that standing on the word of God, believing in what he said to you, because people will come and challenge you, believing what he said is key. Knowing God is also key, because you can have word all day, but if you ain't God said, you understand, then you're gonna be in trouble. So when these tests and trials come up, they're coming up to try the word that God placed on the inside you, not necessarily to deter you, but to prove you. And that is what I realize all the time, is that, hey, if somebody come and says, hey, I'm not sure that's what God said, you go to God and you say, God, is this your word? And if God say, yes, that's my word, you stand on it. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Why? Because it was designed that way. God set you up to prove him, and he wants to know that you are trusting in his salvation. So that is what my journey has been like. And so here I am, pioneering, doing all these things that have never been done in this part of the region, or even in my country. I'm the first to do a lot of things. Gospelipso, I did that, a gospelipso competition. Don't nobody do that. Nobody wants to see Christians singing no calypso. As they concerned, that's the devil's work. You understand? But I did that. I did a DJ sound stage, a gospel DJ sound competition. Who does that? Nobody. You understand? Because it's associated with the things of the world. They think it's secular. But God says, no, I have people with different gifts, and the room has to be made for them. So that is what SOARISE Music International is really all about. I've held on, kept the faith, keep pressing on, and here I am now, with a global network of so many things, and I'm just grateful for what God is doing in this season. So yeah, that's pretty much my journey here.
Wow, so encouraging. And one of the things I realized from what you're saying is that when God speaks, that's what you act on. Because as you
Hmm.
said, so many people can be speaking, so many voices can be heard, but it's the one that you know it's God's voice. This is what God is
Yes,
telling you, and you
you have to
you
know.
you, you
Yeah.
can test and prove it for yourself. And you also mentioned when God spoke to you about starting SOARISE Music, you had no financial backing at the time. And if you look at so many other prophets in the Bible, most times when God is giving you a word to move forward, sometimes it's a lonely pathway that a lot of people don't even want to trot on because,
It's
as you
true.
said, you never had to go this route because you had the support of your family. You could have done a family business, but God was leading you
Right.
on uncharted waters, and you have been pioneering things that have never been done in your region. And we can only say, God be praised for all of that. And
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
it's impacting so many lives because I've
Yeah.
been hearing about you and your ministry for ever so long. Never even knew we would
Wow.
end up having this kind of interview. And God is just awesome, and we can
Yes, he
only
is.
say God is awesome.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
also do other services in addition to SOARISE Music.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, under SOARISE Music International, tell us
Yes.
about those
Yes.
services, graphics,
Mhm.
artist
Yes,
management,
we
those
do
some of those.
graphics. Do graphics. We do web design.
Mhm,
Um, Also, we offer promotional services. Whether
mhm,
it's through uh, radio, it's either internet or terrestrial radio, or if it's through television, local and international. Um,
mhm.
where it spreads across. It just depends on what a person, how far you want to reach, what you want to go.
Yeah.
You can go local, you can go regional, you can go global, where it's reaching millions of people.
Mhm,
Offer those services, and also, of course, through hosting different events and stuff like that, to give artists, the opportunity, of course, to come here and just to showcase, what God has given them. I have a huge vision for a 5-day festival. This is
mhm.
something that I've been wanting to do for many years, because that's how my ministry started, with this big idea. And
Right.
the Lord has fine-tuned it, the Soul Rise Music Festival, and He gave it a new name, 5 Days of Awesome. Now it may sound like, yeah, yeah, festival, everybody's doing that, but everybody's not doing it during Carnival.
Yes, 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 yes.
Because Carnival is one of the so-called biggest summer, whatever, here in Antigua, that happens late
Mhm,
July and ends on Emancipation Day, those two holidays, right?
mhm.
And so to have a gospel festival, because there's literally nothing gospel happening around that time,
That
literally
time,
nothing.
everybody get
And
ready.
it leaves a vacuum. You see people falling, people backsliding, people idle, people that have nothing to do in terms of Christians and young people, even the young people as well, who are very vulnerable, because there's
Mhm,
nothing else there to keep them occupied. So they find little excuses. Oh, I'm gonna go to the show to listen to for the content, to watch the
mhm.
skills of the
I get
musicians,
carried
or
away.
to get some inspiration, or whatever. I'm like, really? Okay.
Yes,
Because God don't have enough inspiration. So you gotta, okay. But this is where people are at, because there's nothing else to do. And
right.
so this is the vision that he has given me, which I hope that I will be able to launch that in 2023, on
Mhm,
a large scale. So I'm looking forward to doing that, because that is like what you call the flagship event. That's the foundation of my ministry. So that vision has to come to pass by God's grace. So that's one of the things that I like to do: create the platform, create the avenue. And another thing that I'm working on is to create a charting system, because I realized that within the Caribbean region, there is no actual database. There's nobody really tracking anything about what artists are doing, whether their album sales, their airplay. There's no proper system in place. And so when we see stuff like the Billboard charts and we see this stuff, nobody really knows how those things work. or
Right.
even the digital radio tracker and stuff like that. So people keep feeling like they're working and their labor is like in vain. Or how do I make that chart? How do I get on that? Oh, why am I not on that? Oh, my music is good. I'm not getting nowhere. But they're not understanding that it's for America. It's not for us. It's restricted to Americans and American stations. So
Mm.
we're not going to be on there unless your music is playing on stations that are signed. I shouldn't say signed, that are registered with BDS. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're not in that, which is gonna cost you, then you don't expect to be on Billboard charts. You understand? So I'm
Right. So it
saying,
doesn't happen
yeah,
automatically.
we have to create that for ourselves, because until we do, we will never be able to be positioned to get that type of access. They're not gonna take us seriously because we're not organized. So I just have that burden in my heart, to work towards establishing something like that for the Caribbean region. Maybe we'll roll out over the next few years, 2 3 years or so, once we get it perfected. But that's where I'm headed, to fill those voids and change the culture, change the system here in the Caribbean.
So,
So yeah.
and again, that would be something new and something that you're pioneering, and God is
Mhm.
using you to pioneer so many things, and it's just amazing. And you've been obedient to His call. I'm happy I'm listening to you because sometimes I get ideas in my head too, and I'm wondering if I'm crazy or not. But I
Mhm.
understand when God is speaking, sometimes you have to be, asking yourself, really, what am I hearing? So this is really good. And you have been doing this for so long, and you have been reaching so many, so many, so many lives. And from the Awesome Music Show family, I want to thank you as well for all the support you've been giving.
Amen.
I hear my music on your station and so many
Yes.
other things. And
Yes.
I am really, really thankful. So
You're welcome.
we need like an entire day to have an interview with you.
You're right.
So that we are just getting bits and pieces of it. The big thing that you're doing, and this is the eighth staging of the ABGMA Award.
Yes. Yes.
You
That's
started
amazing.
in 2015, and from what you're saying, you started 1 year after you
One.
started SOARISE Music International,
Mm-hmm.
and you have been pushing this. This is the eighth staging. Tell us how the journey has been so far. What are some of the challenges you've had? And also, I'm sure there are many, many successes because I've
Oh
seen a lot of.
yes.
I've been voting for so many people over the years. I mean, selfishly just voting. I've been getting this link ever so often from different artists
Yes.
and in media, and I've just been voting. And finally, I saw my name on the list. I'm saying, well, glory be to God for
Wow.
this.
Time for them to vote for you now.
Awesome. And I mean, the good thing is, so many people are so happy for it. It's just a nomination, but so many people are so happy, texting me every day, reminding me, hey, remember to send out a reminder for people to vote. So I'm really grateful. So tell us about, you said it started in 2015, but tell us about some of the
2015. Yes.
challenges. 2015, yes. Tell us about
Yeah.
some of the challenges
Well,
you've had and
well, let
also
me
the
tell you, back in 2014, because that was the period where I had to prepare for
hmm
the first one. During that particular year, it was very, very rough. It was a real trying and tumultuous time and period, because I had some people in my life who God had to remove. So it was
hmm
very, very stressful. And there was a gentleman who started Soarize with me at that particular time. And you know, we had to part ways. We had to part ways.
yes.
And we were not seeing eye to eye. And, I was left on my own, to carry that vision. And I was really like, wow, okay, how is this gonna go? Because now I have to do this by myself. That's all I kept thinking, by myself now. And this event is like in a few short months. And here we are by myself with all this drama. You understand?
Mhm.
And the Lord just reminded me that He is the one who called me. And He said, I gave the vision to you. I didn't give it to so and so and so and so and so and so. I
Mhm.
gave you the vision. I spoke to you. So it doesn't matter who comes or who goes, you go. That's what God said to me.
Yeah.
You go. You don't have permission to quit. So
Mhm.
on that, I pressed on and I did what I had to do. The first one was restricted to only our local artists.
Mhm.
Now, after that, I realized, wow, you know what? These artists, they don't produce music every year. Like everybody's not putting out an album or a song or
Mhm.
whatever every year. It may be 2, 3 years before you hear them put out another song. So
Right.
I said, God, how is this going to be annual? And so every step of the way, the Lord will show me exactly what to do. But it was not without pushback. You will have artists who will be like, oh, I don't know what you're doing, or they won't show up, or they don't take it seriously in that big a deal because I guess it's not on BT, so they're not coming.
Right.
It was just a lot of craziness like that. But
Yeah.
I did not let it deter me because I knew where it was headed. I didn't see it yet, but I knew where it was headed. And so I pressed on, and every year I would change something, I would add by the direction of God. So the voting system changed, getting judges and changing the whole judging panel structure, all of that changed, adding media categories. That came about, I believe, in about 2017 or 2016 or somewhere around, or 2018, somewhere around there, that
Mhm.
media was added. And then it expanded, to more music categories, and then journalism, and then all this stuff, as it
Yeah.
went on over the years. And then it moved from just being local and regional to everywhere. you know and some of the challenges that I experienced was trying to convince companies on the local level to support it, to sponsor it, because you know how it is in the Caribbean. When they hear about award shows or anything, they think it's charitable. They think it's the run of the mill. It's just a little thing that you're having where you just give people a little certificate or a little trophy, tell them they did a good job, pat them on the back. So they
Mhm.
give you $500, or they give you $100, or it's not something that they're thinking of on a grand scale, because they're not catching the vision. So they just think, well, oh, that's probably going to be over by next year. We're probably not going to hear about her after that because she's going to try it and she's going to stop and we're going to move on, right? But
Mhm.
nope, I just kept believing. And what the beauty is that the same gifts that I have, I was able to use. So whereas some people would have to hire all these different people to do different things, I could do all this stuff for myself. you know
Yeah.
so
Awesome.
I was just working, website, this, that, social media, bam, bam, recording, do voiceovers, do the graphics, da, 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 da. I was doing all I did. I was like, wow, now I know why God gave me all this stuff,
Yes.
because
Yes.
I could do it for myself. And I realized why. Because a foundation had to be laid. A foundation had to be laid, and God knew what I would be up against. And if I had all these hindrances from the beginning, meaning I had to get so and so and have to pay so and you ain't got no money, and I can't do it for myself, the vision dies, right?
Right.
And
True.
so God knew ahead of time, before the foundations of the world, that I would need these giftings for this purpose. So hence why those great things were spoken of, um, even back then. And so that is what has kept me going throughout all these years. Because this is what God said to me. He said, look, don't worry about who is not understanding what the awards is all about. Because what I realized is that there were persons like yourself outside of Antigua who got it. Everybody was excited, but I couldn't get the excitement on the local level because they were just looking at me like, okay, all right, award, okay, for what? I don't know. This
Yeah.
kind of vibe. you know.
Yeah.
And I realized that it wasn't the vision. It wasn't the vision. It wasn't the awards. It wasn't nothing. It was them. They lacked the confidence. They
Mhm.
lacked the courage within themselves. They lacked the belief and the faith that they were bringing something of value to the body of Christ and to the
Yeah.
nation. They didn't realize the greatness that they had within them. And so,
Mhm.
no matter how much I was telling them and they were being rewarded, they were not yet convinced. And
Wow.
so that is what brought the struggle. And God said to me, keep doing it. Because year after year, as you keep doing it, they're going to get it.
Yes.
And so here I am, year number 8. And I thank God. I thank God that they have awakened, and understand, what it is that I've been trying to do all these years. So yeah, this is it.
Wow,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. So voting closes the 31st of
On
July, but
July 31st.
mhm,
Um, and let me just just say a little bit about the whole process of the
yeah,
ABGMAs. I know every award show does their thing different. Everybody has their own method, their own process. But for the ABGMA, there are three different ways that people get nominated, right? I nominate people, my
mhm,
judges panel nominate, I have persons in the industry who nominate, and then we have a submission option, because we could all nominate people and we have never heard about so and so. So
mhm,
if you want to leave it to chance that we somehow may have come across your music, then you can. But if you want to get yourself in the position where your music can be reviewed, or your video or whatever, then we have the submission option for that.
mhm,
But that is not a guarantee that one becomes a finalist. It doesn't guarantee. It doesn't. You're not buying your way into the awards.
yeah,
As some may perceive. I don't want people to think that. It's just the opportunity to get into the process. And so once we do that, we pull everything together, and the judges panel now watch this. My judges don't know one another.
mhm.
They don't even know how many of them are there.
Okay, so
They're all in
they
different
all work
parts of the
independently.
world. Right. So nobody's consulting with anybody. You're not gonna call up this other judge to say, hey, what score you give so and so. No. Everybody judges independently because they don't know who the other judges are. And so they do it according to a criteria. And so when all those scores are tallied, then we pick the top five, the top six. And then those persons now move on to the popular vote. But
Mhm,
getting the popular vote doesn't mean you win either.
mhm.
It's the average of the two scores. So the judges score and the public score. And whoever has the highest average becomes the winner. So when you see somebody holding up an ABGMA, I'm telling you, they've been through it,
That's
they
gone
came
through it.
through it, they made it. You understand? So
Yeah,
it's just something that I really take a lot of pride in, and I try to perfect it, make it better every year as we go along. And but the rewarding thing for me is to just see the smile on the faces of persons who not only win, but people who appreciate just being
mhm.
nominated, because
Just
it's a
being
really
creative,
grueling process. And just to be nominated, it's like, yeah, you should appreciate that. That's a good thing. I'm not really looking for, people to pat me and say, but I'm just saying it brings me a lot of joy, because it's a lot of hard work. And I'm just grateful that people are seeing that, it's something to appreciate, and see the value in what it does for the music industry. So yeah, that's it
yeah.
in a nutshell.
That's great. So I have two questions. If
Hmm.
a person is nominated, say 2022, is it automatic that they are nominated the year after, or it's something that by then they have to be entered, like in the in
Have
the
to,
in the
yeah, it has to start the process over again.
submission?
Yeah,
Submission.
yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
great.
yeah.
And
Because we,
then,
we don't want to, play favorites, because then you might end up in a situation where you just keep seeing the same people, and
over.
then people start to get suspicious. Like, how come? How
Right,
come
right,
you're in
right.
20 categories? How come? Every year. Like, how does that work? You kind of start look
That's
funny.
true.
So
And then,
yeah.
yes,
So no,
and there will be
yeah.
one main winner for each of the
For
categories:
each, yes, one
journalism,
winner for each
media,
category.
music. Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
person with the highest average. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
So
great, great.
that's it.
So, so we look forward to that
Mhm.
final show. I know it's at
Yes,
Sir Viv
in
Richards
November. Yeah.
Stadium.
hmm
So
Yes,
you can
sir. Vivian Richards Stadium. Yeah, the
give us the
presidential
final
suite.
details on that.
Say that again.
Give us the final details on
Oh
the
yes.
final.
So it's going to be on November 4th and 5th. All right, but it's actually 4 days of events. So
Right.
on November 3rd, we're gonna have the VG39 pre-show. That's a channel that's in Canada. They're also nominated in the media category as well. But we're gonna have a
Category,
pre-show with them, and then we're gonna have the Salty Sound ABGMA pre-show hosted by DJ Victor. I'm sure you know Victor, DJ Victor 256 and Presh. They're going to
yeah.
do a pre-show representing the Africa African sound. You know, quite a few of their artists have been nominated as well. And then the main events will happen on November 4th and 5th. So the
Okay.
Friday, which is the 4th, we're going to have a legacy ball and media awards. And following that, we're going to have a praise concert, which is headlining Lady C. She's the queen of holy hip hop out of Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, coming with 9 artists. And then we have Lisa Harris, Jasper, and Petron Thomas also headlining from Antigua on that. And then the Saturday, we have the music awards, an artist showcase, and a grand finale praise out loud concert, headlining a band, a top gospel band here out of Antigua, who are having their reunion. They're coming back together, and it's called Judah. Judah Development is the name of the band. So they're going to be headlining that alongside Nigel Lewis, Emran Henry, Nature Kid, and Disciple, and Phenom the First. So it's a jam-packed weekend, and I'm looking forward to everybody full in the place.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely,
having a
definitely.
great time.
So amazing, and we look forward to that. We give it our best support, and we try to
Amen.
rally all our support for this wonderful, wonderful event. And I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to this event.
Yes,
Hopefully, I
yes,
can make it to Antigua as well. Never
yes,
been there. So many opportunities I've
yes.
had to be in Antigua, but just never been
I'm
there. But
telling you,
no need to travel
you
from
will
the
reach
Middle
this
East
side one day, man. You will.
to Antigua. But lastly, before we go, I know we are almost running out of time, but just give us your final encouragement to young people, because
Sure.
anybody listening to you by now must be challenged, must be encouraged that, wow, this woman is power packed. You have a lot going on for you, and you could only do it because of the strength of God. Our theme for this month and August is I'm young, bold, and confident. Just
Awesome.
encourage our audience, and especially our young people who might be going through a rough time at this time, just to be strong, and also encourage them along the theme before we go.
All right, all right. So young, bold, and confident. Let me say to those of you out there that the one thing we can't buy time. All right, but we do have time, and it's important that you see the value in the time that you have. Your time is one of your greatest resources, and don't ever take your time and your value for granted. Don't just say, because I am young and because I'm strong, I have all this heap of time. So see the urgency in your purpose. See the urgency in putting to use the things that God has placed on the inside of you. Basically, stop wasting time. Stop waiting
Mhm.
for something to be so perfect, and then you're gonna step out and do it. Right? Because hence that's why you need to be bold. So don't just rest on your laurels that you're young and you can get to it when you can get to it. No, but you need boldness. You need boldness because there are people who will even challenge you because you're young. They will say, no, 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 you have time. Oh my goodness. But you tell them, no, 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 it's not time. I have a word, and the urgency for it is now, because now is the time of salvation. Now is the time for you to make the impact. Now is the time for you to do. Now is the time for you to be about the Father's business. So boldness is going to be required, because what, you're going to have some big ideas. You're going to come up with some things that challenge the status quo, the way things are, and people are going to say, wow, that's not crazy, that ain't God. God ain't never told me that gonna cost you this, da, 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 da. Been there, done that, wore the t-shirt, I'm still here. So be bold. Be bold. That is what the boldness is for. Not boldness with arrogance, not boldness with being, as we say, enough and edge up, or think you're better than so and so. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. Or because I'm so super talented, I'm so anointed, everybody got to respect me. No. The boldness comes with your faith and you resting in the knowing that God is with you. That is what makes you bold, and knowing that God is the one who gave you the vision. God is the one who gave you the word. God is the one who gave you the gift, not man. So because that boldness is what ensures you to go out there and defy the odds. That is what the boldness is for. Now you have to be confident. The confidence comes from you knowing that you are not responsible for how things turn out, but God is. So you remain faithful to him, you remain faithful to the word by remaining diligent, because God is the one who's going to bring it to pass. So you can be confident. So when people mock you and scorn you and say, oh no, that's not going to be successful, you ain't going to be this, you're wasting your time. No, tell them, no, 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 no. I am confident in this one thing. He who has begun that good work, you see, it's the good work. He is
Yeah.
faithful to complete it. So hey, tell them, look, I'm just going through my process. I'm just working my time, basically. And in the end, my God will be proved. So don't worry about what you're going through now or what you're facing or anything, any trial. They're all designed to make you strong. They're all designed to prove your God. They're all designed to show forth the glory of God that is in your life. Why? Because there were many who were given visions, given talent, given all kind of things, and they're in the grave. They died with them. There are many out there who say they shoulda, coulda, woulda, all kind of stuff, and they never did nothing. But here you are working. Here you are stepping out, and that, my friends, is what they are intimidated by. So you hold on to the faith and you be confident that you responded to the call of God and remain fixed and focused on what He has purposed in you. And you will see the goodness of God in the land of the living. So be faithful as He is faithful. Stay young, bold, and confident. That's God.
Wow, wow, wow. That sounds like the fight, the grand finale speech for the entire 2 months. But really,
Amen.
really powerful. And I mean, no script needed, ladies and gentlemen, because she is tough,
Amen.
she is anointed. She has so much experience that she could just talk from. And I'm sure at some point we might be seeing a book coming from you if you don't
Yes,
already
you are
have
speaking prophetically. Yes.
because, I mean, a woman like you, I'm just looking to say, hey, must be uh, um, doing a book,
Yes.
to be released. So that's really good. Looking forward to that. And I
Amen.
really want to thank you so much for your time on this show, and
You're
thank you also that we are now named in as one of the nominees, and we are really really grateful. And thank you for your ministries and all that
welcome.
God has been allowing you to do in Antigua
Bless.
and in other parts of the world. Now you have a global network, and I'm sure
Yes.
so many persons. I know you're connected with another radio station here in the UAE as well, um,
Mm-hmm.
GMI Radio, and I'm
GMI.
sure
Yes. Yes.
uh, any Ukusun is really, connected as well. So really, really
Yes.
thankful for your ministry. You're spreading all over the place, and we just continue to do what God allows us to do. So thank you so much for your time, Apostle.
You.
And we will definitely talk some more. We'll follow the happenings with the awards and also all of your ministries that you're doing in Antigua and other parts of the world. Thank you so much for your time and have a
Amen.
great day.
Thank you. You too. God bless.
You're welcome, welcome. Take care. All the best.
All right.
All right, so there you have Apostle Stanshaw, and she was my awesome guest on the Awesome Music Show. And in the Awesome Music Spotlight today, she spoke about so many different things. But guess what? She has so much to impart to us, and you could hear it coming out with so much passion, so much zeal, so much energy. And we want to thank her for her time on this wonderful broadcast. So as we go, we want you to know that wherever you're logging on from, wherever you're sharing this live broadcast from, thank you so much for your comments. Thank you so much for always logging on to share these broadcasts with us. And we want you to continue to support the Awesome Music Show. Continue to vote. Voting is unlimited all the way up to the 31st. And as you heard, the award show will happen in November, and it will be an entire 3 to 4 days of festival, ending with the grand finale on the 5th. So we want you to be a part of those as well. For those of you who are in the Caribbean and you want to support, head over to Antigua. And those of you who have your favorite radio show, favorite artists, favorite journalists, vote for them. Vote for them, support them, help them to get to the top. And it's not just about getting to the top, it's about the appreciation that is shown for the work that they have been doing. So thank you so much for being a part of the Awesome Music Show and the Awesome Music Spotlight today. We had Apostle Stanshaw Cornelius out of Antigua, and she wears so many hats, but she is the CEO of SOARISE Music International, also the owner and operator of SOARISE Radio and TV, and also she is a pioneer of the ABGMA Awards, now in its 8th year. So as we go, thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast. We will see you on our next broadcast, and we will have another awesome guest for you. So take care. My name is Dayle, and as usual, It's another awesome day given to us by an awesome God to do some awesome things, and we appreciate everything that God has been doing in our lives and on this show. So take care. See you soon as we go. Be blessed. Take care. So my name is Dayle. See you soon on all our broadcasts. We'll talk very, very soon. Continue to vote for the Awesome Music Show as Best Radio Show Entertainment. Thank you so much. Take care.